The word slipped out before I could stop it. No. Silence cracked open like glass under pressure. My mother's hand froze halfway to her glass of water. My father's knife hovered above his plate, gleaming under the light. My sister blinked, confused, as if she misheard. I looked at each of them, my pulse steady but loud in my chest. I said no, she can't stay with me. My mother's smile disappeared, replaced by disbelief. Why not? You have a spare room, it's only for a while. It's my home office, I said, voice low but even. My father waved a hand, like brushing away a fly. You barely use it, be reasonable. Family helps family. His tone carried command, not request. It was the same tone that shaped my childhood. The one that never expected resistance. I felt it rising again, the old reflex to obey. To make it easier, to keep peace. But something inside me shifted. I said no, I repeated, slower this time. My sister frowned, shrinking slightly in her seat. I thought you'd be happy. You're always alone. The words landed like small cuts, familiar and sharp. Alone had always been their accusation, never my choice. My mother leaned forward, voice tightening. After everything we've done for you, this is how you thank us. My father's sigh carried disappointment heavy enough to crush air. This is what family does, he said. That word, family, used like a rope to pull me back in. Every time it worked. But not tonight. I placed my fork down gently beside my plate. I've done enough for this family, I said. The words surprised even me with how calm they sounded. My mother stared as if I'd spoken a foreign language. You're overreacting. It's temporary, be sensible. I stood, smoothing the crease of my blouse. I am being sensible. My chair scraped softly against the floor. No one moved. No one spoke. I walked toward the door, their eyes burning into my back. The air in the dining room felt thick with disbelief. Where are you going? My father demanded. Home, I said, reaching for my coat. You'll regret this, he warned. I didn't answer. The night air outside hit my face, cool and clean. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. The car door shut behind me, sealing the quiet. My hands trembled on the steering wheel, then steadied. The engine started with a low hum. Headlights cut through the dark road ahead. Every mile between me and that table felt lighter. They would call, they would argue. They would try again. But tonight, I had done something different. I had said no. And for once, the word didn't sound selfish. It sounded like freedom. The apartment greeted me with silence. No voices, no expectations, just space. I locked the door and leaned against it, breathing out. The city lights flickered through the window like quiet witnesses. For a long time, I just stood there. Then I began to move. I turned on the lamp, soft golden light filling the room. The walls were pale gray, clean and calm. Everything in its place, untouched by anyone but me. I ran my fingers along the edge of my desk. My sanctuary, my proof that I built something on my own. And now they wanted to take a piece of it. Old memories surfaced without warning. The time I lost my room to an aunt's visit. The summer I spent babysitting cousins instead of studying. The Christmas I worked through deadlines while they called me ungrateful. Each moment replayed, sharp as broken glass. Every "you're responsible" had really meant "you'll sacrifice." I opened my laptop and searched for my lease. Scrolling through, line after line until I found it. Unauthorized occupants will result in violation. The words glowed on the screen like armor. I took a photo, saved it to my phone. Evidence, protection. Then I drafted an email to the building manager. Short, professional, unapologetic. I have not approved any long-term guests. Please note this. I pressed send and felt something inside me settle. Control, my control. Next, I changed the code on my door lock. New numbers, new start. I ordered a small security camera online. Delivery scheduled for tomorrow morning. Each action pulled me further away from the helpless daughter I'd been. The night stretched quiet and alive around me. On the counter, my phone buzzed again. Mother, father, then my sister. Each vibration a small explosion of guilt. I flipped the phone face down. The screen went dark, and peace returned. I poured a glass of water, drank it slowly. No apologies, no explanations. Just breath. At the desk, I opened a blank document. Title, Boundaries. I began listing rules, my own. Ask before assuming. Respect the word no. Silence is not consent. By the time I finished, my chest no longer felt heavy. The apartment hummed softly, like it understood. Outside, a siren wailed and faded into the distance. Inside, I exhaled again, steady and sure. Tomorrow they would push back. They always did. But tonight, I would sleep without dread. No one could enter without permission. Not anymore. I turned off the light, the glow of the city tracing faint lines across the ceiling. For the first time, I felt the truth settle deep inside me. This space was mine. My room, my rules. And this time, no one would take it away. The next morning, the doorbell camera chimed. A small notification blinked across my phone screen. Visitor detected. I tapped the feed and froze. My parents' car sat in the driveway below, trunk open. Beside it stood my sister, waving her arms in excitement. 4 suitcases lined the sidewalk like an invasion. They had come to move her in. I whispered the words aloud, disbelief coating each syllable. They really did it. My father straightened his back, scanning the building entrance. My mother adjusted her earrings, lips tight with determination. My sister pointed toward the lobby doors, giving directions. Through the speaker, I heard their voices clearly. "We're here for my daughter," my mother said, smiling. The security guard shifted politely. "I'm sorry, ma'am. No one been authorized today." "We're family," she insisted, as if that explained everything. "Family still needs to be on the approved list," he replied. My father's jaw tightened. He lifted a suitcase with unnecessary force. "Listen, young man, we're helping her move. She expects us." The guard didn't flinch. "There's no record of approval. Please contact the resident directly." I stayed silent, watching from my couch. Every part of me trembled, but not from fear. From clarity. My father's authority meant nothing here. My mother's charm hit a wall of professionalism. Their rules no longer applied. The building manager appeared moments later, clipboard in hand. Calm, confident. He checked the list, then looked up. "Miss Min notified us yesterday," he said evenly. "She approved no visitors." My mother blinked, the smile cracking under pressure. My sister clutched her phone, calling me again. The screen lit up with her name. I didn't answer. Her voice carried faintly through the camera. "She's not picking up. This is ridiculous." Around them, neighbors passed by with curious glances. No one intervened. No one took their side. For once, I wasn't the one being cornered. My father finally exhaled, slow and angry. "Let's go," he muttered, voice stripped of power. They began reloading the car, frustration sharp in every movement. My mother wiped her eyes. My sister slammed a door. The car pulled away, shrinking into traffic. I set the phone down, staring at the quiet screen. My reflection stared back, tired but lighter. For years, they'd crossed lines without consequence. Today, the line held. I opened the window, letting in a wave of morning air. The city sounded different, open, alive, mine. Down below, the security guard returned to his post. Routine restored. Inside my apartment, peace settled like dust after a storm. No yelling, no guilt, no apologies. Just the hum of my freedom. For the first time, They had been stopped at the door. And for the first time, I hadn't needed to fight to make it happen. The calls started before noon. First my mother, then my father, then my sister. Each voicemail dripped with guilt. You embarrassed us. You made your sister cry. Family doesn't treat family like this. I listened to none of them. The phone vibrated across the counter like a trapped insect. By evening, the messages multiplied. Cousins, aunts, even my old piano teacher. Everyone suddenly cared about my boundaries. Everyone had an opinion on my duty. I opened a new spreadsheet on my laptop. Column 1, name. Column 2, time. Column 3, method of contact. Column 4, exact wording. It was easier to turn emotion into data. Numbers didn't yell. They didn't guilt. They just existed. By midnight, the list had 40 entries. I scrolled to the bottom and stared at it. Proof of a pattern older than I was. They didn't listen. They demanded. Always wrapped in the word love. Always disguised as care. I closed the file and opened my email. The subject line was short. No contact for 7 days. I wrote the message carefully, one deliberate line at a time. I need space. Do not visit or call. This is not up for discussion. I attached a screenshot of the lease clause for good measure. Then I hit send. Instant silence. The apartment seemed to exhale with me. The phone stayed quiet for exactly 23 minutes. Then a text arrived from my sister. You're making me look bad. Everyone thinks I'm homeless. I stared at it until the screen dimmed. Then I turned the phone over. Face down. End of conversation. Days passed in unusual peace. No buzzing, no interruptions. I drank coffee in silence. I worked without apology. I slept without dreams. But quiet has a strange sound when you're not used to it. It hums beneath the skin, equal parts freedom and fear. On the 5th day, an email from my father appeared. Subject, we're disappointed. I didn't open it. Instead, I made dinner for one and ate by the window. Outside, the city pulsed with life that didn't include me. And that was okay. They could spin whatever story they wanted. The truth didn't need witnesses. On the 7th day, I wrote another entry in my spreadsheet. Silence maintained. Next to it, I added a single word in bold. Control. It wasn't about winning. It was about reclaiming what was mine. My space, my time, my peace. I shut the laptop and looked around the room. No one knocking, no one demanding. The quiet no longer scared me. It sounded like the start of a new language. One built on the power of saying nothing at all. They chose the cafe halfway between my apartment and their house. Neutral ground, or so they said. I arrived 20 minutes early and took the corner booth. Facing the door, always facing the door. 3 cups waited on the table, each one chosen deliberately. Black coffee for my father. Earl Grey for my mother. A chai latte for my sister. Small gestures still mattered, even in war. When they entered, surprise flickered across their faces. I was calm, composed. My father hesitated before sitting. My mother's smile was brittle, her fingers trembling on the mug. My sister avoided my eyes. I let the silence stretch. Finally, my father cleared his throat. You've made this family look ridiculous. I didn't answer. My mother leaned forward, voice coated in sugar. We only wanted to help your sister. You overreacted. I took a slow sip of water. This isn't about helping, it's about respect. The word hit the table like a dropped stone. No one spoke. So I continued. For 30 years, you've made choices for me without asking. When I was 8, you gave my room to Aunt Thai. When I was 14, I missed the science camp to babysit cousins. When I was 23, I worked through Christmas because Grandma needed company. My father's expression stiffened. Those were family obligations. No, I said softly. They were your decisions, and I paid for them. My sister's eyes widened. I thought you liked helping. I liked being asked, I said. That never happened. My mother's lips pressed thin. You make it sound cruel. We love you. I know, I said. But love without respect isn't love. It's control. The cafe noise carried on around us. Laughter, cups clinking, espresso hissing. Normal life continuing while mine shifted beneath me. My father leaned back, crossing his arms. So what now? You want an apology? I want change, I said. When you want something from me, time, space, help, you ask. You accept my answer, whether it's yes or no. No guilt, no pressure, no interference. My mother looked down at her tea, steam fatting. She nodded once, slow, like learning a foreign language. We should have asked, she said. Yes, I replied. The quiet that followed wasn't heavy. It was unfamiliar, almost fragile. My sister traced circles on her cup. I just assumed you'd say yes. You always did. Not anymore. My father exhaled, a long sound of surrender. We'll try, he said. That's all I needed, I said. When they stood to leave, my mother lingered a second. Can we visit sometime? Ask first, I said, smiling. Outside the window, the world looked unchanged. But something fundamental had shifted. For once, I left the table without guilt. And for the first time, my silence felt like strength, not distance. 3 weeks passed before the next message arrived. It came from my sister. A single photo. Sunlight spilling across a small apartment with bare walls and new keys on a counter. Her caption read, "My first real place. Thanks for pushing me." I stared at it for a long time before typing back. It looks perfect. Need help picking curtains. A small smile tugged at my lips as I hit send. The reply came almost instantly. Only if you promise not to choose gray again. I laughed quietly, the sound strange and light. Change had begun, slow but steady. The next day, my mother called. Would you like to come for dinner Sunday? There was a pause, soft and deliberate. We understand if you have other plans. That question mark meant everything. It was new, it was respect. My father's voice followed a few days later. We're planning Thanksgiving. What works for your schedule? I nearly dropped the phone. For years, they had dictated my time. Now they were learning to ask. When Sunday arrived, I hosted dinner at my apartment. My choice, my invitation. They arrived exactly at 6, knocking first. My mother held a bouquet of tulips. May I put these in water? She asked. My father paused by my framed project award. This was your design. My team's, I said, and he actually listened. My sister bounced with excitement, glowing with new independence. She told stories about her job interview, her neighbors, her plants. Laughter filled the same space that once felt threatened. The table that could have been a battlefield now held peace offerings. Please, thank you, pass the salad. No demands, no guilt. Just conversation. After dinner, we stood on my balcony. The city shimmered in the distance, alive and calm. My mother turned to me, eyes softer than I remembered. You've made this place feel like home. It finally is, I said. They left with hugs that didn't cling. No last-minute instructions, no lingering judgment. Just quiet goodbyes. When the door closed, I stayed by the window. The apartment hummed in the soft rhythm of evening. My phone buzzed once more. Another photo from my sister. A tiny table, a single potted plant in the center. Caption, dinner for one feels good. I typed back, proud of you. No lecture, no advice, just truth. For the first time, pride came without bitterness. The silence around me was warm, not cold. Boundaries had become bridges, not walls. Later, I sat with a cup of tea, watching the city pulse below. The space was still mine, but it no longer needed defending. Freedom had turned into peace. And when my phone chimed with a new message, "Christmas plans, what can you bring?" I smiled and answered, "I'll bring dessert. Some doors must be claimed before they can open. And when they do, love finally walks in the right way." The night settled soft and clear around me. The apartment glowed with quiet light and steady peace. No arguments, no explanations left to give. Just space that finally belonged to me. I walked to the balcony, tea warm in my hands. Below, the city shimmered, alive and distant. Somewhere, my family drove home, carrying silence that wasn't heavy anymore. It was understanding. My phone buzzed once, a new message from my sister. A photo of her small dining table, neatly set for two. "Come visit soon," she wrote. I smiled, feeling the calm bloom in my chest. Love no longer meant surrender. It meant choice. I looked around my apartment one last time that night. Every corner told the story of what I'd reclaimed. Freedom didn't roar, it whispered. It existed in each breath without apology. I set my cup down, turned off the lights, and stood in the dark. For years, I thought peace meant being accepted. Now I knew peace meant being whole. And for the first time, I didn't need anyone's permission to keep it.